All right, great. So everybody, let's go ahead and get started here. So my name is PJ and I'm the founder of Uscreen, and I'm happy to be with you here today on this awesome webinar. We actually have a big showing and a lot of different guests here with us today, and it's a pleasure to host everybody. And I have a very special guest with me, and I want to introduce her. Her name is Emma Berry. Emma, welcome.
Thanks, PJ. Delighted to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And Emma, we love having you on the show today. It's a pleasure to have you. And you are a global fitness authority with over 25 years of experience, chief creative soul at Good Soul Hunting, and you're a Kiwi living in California. You track all the fitness trends and have a lot of experience with what's happening in the world. So it's a pleasure to be with you here today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, perfect. So today's webinar, everybody, thank you for joining. I'm based here in Washington, D.C., and of course, Emma's in California. And we have the pleasure of working with so many fitness, health, and wellness customers that we're going to be able to share a lot of insights with you here today. Okay, so our topic today is going to be what's going to happen with fitness moving forward, 2021 and after. All right, and we have a lot of great insights to share with you. So on this webinar today, it's a pleasure to have you. I know everybody is webinared out per se. There is so many webinars we're all doing constantly, and so we're happy to have you. Now, we have health clubs here, gyms, studios, online influencers, YouTubers, all around health and wellness. And Uscreen hosts over 1,500 customers all around the world around fitness. So I have a lot of data to share with you. Okay, so first, let's go into, we have a lot of questions and we've collected a lot of them. We're going to answer them all towards the end of the webinar. And I want everybody to ask your questions. We're going to try to get to some of them at the end. And we might have a follow-up webinar. But I am going to go through a lot of the questions that I've consolidated in order to share them with you, okay? So first, how will fitness evolve in 2021 and after? It's been a crazy year. We all know it. We've had to basically react to a tough time for us moving forward. And we're happy to offer you some insight into the industry. Now, before I get started real quick, I'm gonna ask the first question to Emma. I'd like to welcome our co-host here, Daniel Kosmala, joining us from the studio. Awesome. Daniel was having some technical issues, so we're happy that he joined us. So great, Daniel. Daniel's the host of the Health and Wellness channel on YouTube, and he's going to share a link later today. So he has a lot of insights. All he does is research and then make these really cool YouTube videos. Okay, so Emma, back to you. What's happened 2020? What's going on, and what's your insight into 2021 and moving forward with the health and wellness industry?
Yeah, look, good. And hi, Daniel. Oh, the irony that the tech guy has tech issues. It's always the way, right? Look, we've all, as you said, PJ, we've all been webinared out this year. What has happened in the last 9 months? You know, there has been an acceleration of which technology has been, sort of the front runner. Every industry in the world is cleaning up back of house, working out how to work in an ecosystem or a hybrid situation where there's going to be live, there's going to be digital expression of the brand. We've seen all the connected fitness, the online fitness, digital. Most of these successful companies are in triple-digit growth, so it's just there's a huge spike, and I know you've got a slide on that later, PJ. So we're seeing, also bricks and mortar live experience is obviously incredibly pressured. We've got bunches of Europe shut down right now. We've got the US kind of all over the place, depending on local authorities there. We've got New Zealand and Australia somewhat back to normal operations in part, in the most part. And then we're really beginning to see a lot of development of technology. People have spent that time wisely, who have had the resources to be able to really bring us forward. And this is sort of expressing itself in a few ways. So first of all, we know that we need some sort of footprint that's digital. And if you think about that, I think of the times now as being quite an awkward situation where we're going, should I go live or should I go online? Guys, it's going to be both. Look at the other retail, look at the way that we shop, look at the way that we eat. We're really going to be moving to this world where we can have whatever we need at our fingertips in whatever context we are in. So I think get beyond the chaos that is now and that has been 2020 and see that there's going to be kind of everything at your fingertips. So I think there's that. And then I just wanted to quickly shout out around CES, PJ. So I think it's very important to know that the fitness industry is actually very behind in technology in some ways to other industries. I've been going to CES, which is the Consumer Electronics Show. It's usually hosted in Vegas. This year it will be online. I thoroughly recommend everyone on this webinar to get on. There's 2 passes. There's the VIP. So if you're in tech land, you can get more extensive passes to the show. If you're general public, you can see some of it. But I urge you, please get on there and take a look. It runs very early in January at CES, the Consumer Electronics Show. You will be it's mind-boggling how fast things are moving in other industries that have a lot more money than fitness has had historically. So I'm talking about the transport industry, robotics. AI was the #1 trend last year across all industries. The car industry, hotels, smart living, Apple, the privacy stuff that everyone's dealing with. So I really urge you to get on there and you'll be amazed. So 5G was another big trend. So AI was #1, 5G connectivity was #2, all the mixed realities, VR, AR, all the things that you expect from the gaming world. And then in our world, wearables and hearables. And I know PJ's got some really exciting stuff to talk about today. So those were the big trends. Now here's the sad thing. I found 11 fitness people at a show that had like about 100,000 eyeballs on it. 11. We had dinner together and we thought, we really are missing the point here. And then 2020 arrived and everything's about technology. So I just urge you, look to other sectors, look to CES just to see where the world is going, because we are going to be shaped by all the things that are work, all the things that are not work, and really take that as our guide. Thanks, PJ.
Absolutely. So basically what you're saying, Emma, is it's about time that fitness caught up to what's happening within other sectors of the world and is adopting technology. So it's no longer is if we should have a streaming solution or a digital offering, it's we should have had one prior to what's happening. Daniel, you have a slide to show us actually with what happened at COVID with specifically some of the stats that you can show. Go ahead and show us that, and then you're gonna tell us about the market and the opportunity moving forward with the valuation of the fitness industry and what we're valued at moving forward for the next few years.
Yeah, thanks, PJ. I'm really excited to be a part of this conversation, but it's pretty crazy. One of the most common questions I feel like we get, especially right now, is the fitness industry, specifically the online fitness industry, is it saturated? Like, have we reached that saturation point where there's just too much going on? And the simple answer is no, not even slightly. I've actually got a video coming to this channel, this health and fitness Uscreen channel, in about 2 to 3 weeks that'll dive really deep on that specific topic. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, go ahead and do that. But to just give you a little nugget from that, here are some crazy eye-opening stats. In 2019, the online fitness industry was valued at about $6 billion, that's a lot of money. In 2020, that grew by about 30-40% to $8 billion. But the kicker here, and I'll show this stat on screen, is that over the next 6 or 7 years, that number is projected to hit $57 billion, which is just mind-boggling. So the answer is no, it's not saturated. Like 8 billion to 57 billion is crazy. And I think that might be on the underside, to be honest. And this is from Allied Market Research, where I got these statistics. But when I saw it, I was like, man, we've got to tell people about this, because they have to know that like we're very early still in this inflection curve or this adoption curve as to what's coming down the pipeline. And now is the time to start preparing for that.
Absolutely, really good point. I mean, 57 billion is like 5x, 6x or more of what we're currently at. So that's a really big growth spurt. I mean, you look at Uscreen and our customers, we have some of the biggest yoga brands on our network. Sarah Beth Yoga, Yoga with Adrian, pretty much the biggest fitness YouTuber. I think she's second in line. Then you got Humming Puppy, right? Yep. Australian-based yoga company that launched a New York studio, does extremely well on Uscreen. We have, the reason I say that is we probably have over 200 yoga customers, maybe more, and they're all growing, doing extremely well, launching sustainable long-term businesses. I see a lot of opportunity, and we'll get into how there's riches in the niches, right? And there's absolutely a lot of opportunity there. And I always try and advise to at least pick a niche or have a direct audience going into that. Now, I'd like to ask a little bit of Emma's expertise here on what happens with the vaccine coming out, thank God, soon. What happens when the vaccine comes out in, and we start adopting it as a nation and as the world in the next few months or sooner or later? Will that significantly affect a lot of the customers already doing live and video on demand streaming? And if it does even affect them a little bit, what happens after that?
Great. Well, look, no one really knows. So this is just some thoughts based on what we're watching in the market. But we do know that when Apple announced that they were launching content on the 14th of December, that the Peloton stock did drop a little bit. So there's going to be a writing, of course. We are human. We love to be together. There is a pent-up demand to want to go back to clubs and live experiences and boot camps and outdoors and indoors and all the rest of it. But we also know that we're only touching the motivated. We've only been motivating the motivated for the last, 50 years of fitness, and we now need to reach into the great unwashed. So there's 80% of the market that haven't been a member of a club or what have you. Now, Apple coming to the market, everyone's like, oh, Apple's coming, Apple's coming. There is no one monopoly in the world, okay? Not everyone is an Apple fan, and I celebrate Apple coming because look at us. We were first closed. We were last to open. We were not seen as an essential health solution or part of the preventative health solution in the vast majority of the world. With Apple coming, and Tim Cook has been very clear about this, he's building a health solution. So Apple now has a watch and a gym on your wrist, and they're basically validating fitness as part of the greater health ecosystem. So it is positive. Not everyone's going to want an Apple Watch. Not everyone's going to, all these things. So it's great. They've validated fitness, and they've actually said this is a really important part of people's life. And so I think, yes, there's going to be some adjustments. Okay, so we've had them coming. Now, what's going to happen in the future is there is going to be this world of a blended environment. I'm talking a lot right now about a phygital environment where there's a bridge between the physical world and the digital world, and both are going to enhance each other. I mean, that is the end game. We're kind of going there. And I think we've seen it in some other industries. We're seeing it in travel. I can now get parallel realities at the airport. All of these things are coming in. They're going to affect our fitness. So yes, there's going to be a writing, but digital expressions of any brand are here to stay. Think about it. In any 1 year, I might go to the club. Maybe I don't go as often. Maybe I have sick kids. I'm on vacation. I can't be bothered putting a face of makeup on. Maybe I'm traveling. This way, I can have this continuous experience that I take with me. Okay, so that is very firmly what I believe is the new world. How we play in that space is going to be different. And I think that's where partnerships, and I'm just going to throw that word out there really early, because if you're not great at something, find someone who is, because that way you can keep going super fast. Technology's accelerating. Are you accelerating? And if I hear one more brand saying, we're going to build an app, I don't know if I've got any followers, and I don't really know what we're doing, but we're just going to put our best instructors, we're going to put the lights on, because when that content train starts, it is hungry, baby, and you've got to keep going. So I'm just going to throw partnerships out there, and I'm going to show we're going to have everything. We're going to have digital, physical, and everything in between.
Great input on that, Emma. And I'm going to piggyback on that a little bit going into our next topic. Will people pay for my content? And I'd like to personally offer some of my input working with a few hundred customers personally and what I've experienced. For example, a local gym here in DC, a customer of Uscreen called Vita Fitness, hosts a platform on Uscreen, and what they do and a lot of other health clubs, gym studios do is they will pretty much allow the digital membership to be grandfathered into the actual in-person membership, or they'll offer it in the top tier. So that's very popular. And I'm going to actually quickly share my screen here with everybody just to show this site. Let's take a quick look. All right. Daniel, did you share that? We're on now?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so let's take a look at Vita here. This is actually my home gym. That's the studio I lift right back there. So they do live and on demand. Now they're grandfathering their in-person, right? Myself, my actual membership into this streaming site, right? And they're doing live. Choose is doing the same thing. Another very large size health clubs, all the way to your humming puppy here that I talked about. So grandfathering in-person memberships into the digital offer is going to get more and more common. You will also see that when a gym has multiple levels of membership, that the top tier will include digital access. So I have no doubt that there's going to be most of the health club gyms, studios, the brick and mortars will adopt and have already adopted a streaming solution, and it's working, and the viewership is amazing. The live and on-demand stats is amazing for these gyms that are currently limited capacity. Some have really good capacity. Some are unfortunately closed. Within those different spectrums, the viewership of live and on-demand is actually very impressive. So now I would like for, let's go into the next item here with the stats specifically. Daniel, if you can share the fitness and exercise streaming stats, then we'll look at yoga. I just want everybody to see what we see as far as averages and how many % are offering subscription versus one-time sales. This is our fitness and exercise, not counting yoga and meditation. 80% are offering subscriptions. It's been the case for the last 5-6 years. 6 years Uscreen's been around. It's always been subscriptions has been the mothership, memberships, right? Same way gyms are charging for their passes. 20% are doing on the side bundles, one-time sales, right? Average price of a subscription is $14. And then the average yearly price is $126. Let's take a look at yoga. Yoga is similar. Little bit more memberships, a little bit more bundles as well, and then the average price is a tad lower. We do have actually a good amount of yoga, but I would say we have more general fitness than yoga for sure. But yoga is yoga, and what we see, again, riches in the niches, is a lot of the yoga sites that do extremely well follow the trainer, follow the influencer, follow that studio. Humming Puppy has a very loyal audience that love Humming Puppy, that love the instructors there. It's the same thing at Vita. I enjoy working out with a specific trainer. I show up to the digital offer and I watch that trainer. And actually in Uscreen, what you can do, and other platforms offer this as well, you can see what trainers have the most watch time and offer incentives for those trainers, which I highly recommend. So grandfathering in some of the users is definitely an opportunity, and probably the most that I see right now in the pandemic. It didn't used to happen prior as much, as well as offering the digital offer in the high-end membership, and then monetization with over 1,500 customers on Uscreen Health and Wellness. They kick some butt making some money on the platform. So absolutely people will pay for your content, and it's just the beginning. So let's go into the expertise now of video production side from our very own Daniel, which has done a really good job. His studio actually looks pretty high tech there, but it's actually a fairly small room, just like mine. It's amazing how much you can do with a small space. I would love to hear some of Daniel's best recommendations for shooting video for on-demand and live, because that's also a common question. And we'll also ask for Emma's feedback after Daniel's input on that as well.
Yeah, PJ, I think common question might be the understatement of the webinar when it comes to gear, because that's one of the most common things I hear is like, what gear should I get? What camera should I get? What microphone? What lens? And to be honest, most people are asking the wrong questions when it comes to their camera gear and their camera setup. I have the benefit of having studied radio and television and film production in university and working in that industry for a long time, so that I know the gear. A lot of our customers come and they just see a YouTube video about a really cool camera, a really cool lens, and they're like, I want that. But I'm worried about investing, $2,000-$3,000 in all this gear. Is that the right move? And the answer is most likely no. And I say that because you have a 4K video camera in your pocket. Almost all of us have a 4K camera that we carry around in our front or back pockets. And the truth is that if you want to spend $3,000 on buying camera gear, but you don't know how to use it, you're wasting your money, because you're just going to put it on auto settings. And if I put this camera on auto settings right now, this would look like a garbage fire. It would look like a dumpster fire out back behind the building. That is not what you want to do. If you're going to invest that much money into gear, you need to know what you're doing. So you're better off taking that $3,000 and just maybe hiring a camera crew to come in and help you shoot videos. That would be a better use of that money. But if you insist on doing it yourself, then save yourself those thousands of dollars and learn how to get the best image out of this first. Because there are ways. I have a video on this channel. It's actually a 2-part series that would be perfect for people in this particular scenario, where it talks about how to improve your videos without spending $0, or with spending $0. You don't have to spend any money to improve your videos using something like this. Then you just buy, a smartphone tripod, light, and microphone, and you're all set to go. And you can get all that for like $100 on Amazon, and you will have a full production setup ready to go. So one video is on that. And then the next video is like, if you insist, like if you've gotten the best image possible out of your iPhone, you're ready to upgrade, then here is your next baby step, because you don't need to jump into a Hollywood studio in your office or your studio, wherever it is. So that's my best advice. Start where you are with what you have. And I promise it'll save you a lot of money and a lot of headaches.
Good point, because it really is almost a can of worms if you're not too familiar with the equipment, like myself, right? It just opens up so many different doors, and you've been a huge help for me as well. Emma, what about production quality, which everyone gets so hung up on? But you made a really good point about context, which is really important. You can go all the way from your professional grade, which is what you see on your Les Mills and all the other high-end content, all the way to the iPhone, which works extremely well. What about production as well as context?
Yeah, my answer to these sorts of questions is always it depends. And it really does depend on your market. It depends on your budget, and it depends on your ability, to deliver this consistently. So we saw, or in many of the clients that I work with, we saw a couple of things happen during the pandemic. First of all, content is king. So there is definitely a love for high quality content over time when you're looking for that, because don't forget, we're up against Netflix and we're up against anything that does compete for our attention, right? We're used to seeing things. We're used to social media giving us exactly what we want. And if you haven't seen The Social Dilemma, please watch that as a sidebar. Very important to understand that in the digital space, that we're being served our preferences, because that's what we need to do as business owners as we build our communities. So I would say, look, you've got top-end production, with folks like Les Mills On Demand. You're looking at the Pelotons, the Mirrors, the Tonals. All of those guys are spending a lot of money because they have, a particular look and feel, and they need to deliver that. Then at the other end, I've just got my sensei, or I've got Johnny at 5 o'clock, and I just want to be with Johnny at 5 o'clock because we've been spending, this time together every week for the last 2 years. So it really depends, and you've also got to have a budget. Like Daniel said, you can do this for next to nothing. You have the tools. Or once you start stepping into studio, that can become a behemoth in terms of budget. But really, it's relevant to your audience, and then it's contextual. So there's been a lot of sympathy during this time. People have been happy to jump on, and perhaps things aren't perfect and the music might be a bit delayed and things like that. They've been a little bit sympathetic during these times. But what I'm picking now is that quality is going to start to matter. I don't want to be left high and dry. I don't want to be starting not on time. I don't want to not be able to hear the music. So really, you're going to see all of that, but it's contextual. And I'm quite happy. I've always worked either on the road or at home. So I'm quite happy having an experience at home, more than happy, because I know that it's that or nothing. I don't have time to drive across town, do all the things. So I like to have both of those elements in my life, for example. So it's very contextual.
Great feedback on that. Emma, before we move to the next topic of live and VOD, which is a really popular question, I'd like to ask your feedback on this. You're very well versed within the trends and what's happening within the fitness space. You said something about Zoom the other day, which we were chatting about. Oftentimes customers come to us and they're like, hey, I'm already using Zoom, but they love that upgraded experience, which the OTT platform and monetization offers. You can do the paywall, you own your customers and all that stuff. What's your input on the fitness space, specifically using Zoom? Because you've told me it's actually a small proportion. Can you share some insight into that?
Yeah, so look, I mean, I think everyone went on and that was just sort of the easy, and they managed to grab that moment. What we're finding now is that people are preferring that there's little nuances when you're doing fitness class, like around the music and an ability to add some of those features that are a bit more specific to what we deem is important. I think they're going to become more important once we move into 2021. People are going to be looking for a more of a quality experience. They want to know what they're getting. They want to have it consistently and beautifully delivered in whatever channel. And then what I've also seen as we sort of step into the on-demand versus live is that, at least with the people that I work with, live has been convenient for now. And again, it really relies on, it's like going out to a festival or going to see a big name. You will put that in your diary and you will turn up. But what happens over time is convenience is actually our new currency, and we like things on our terms. So in the clients that at least I work with, we're noticing that the on-demand part is much better, like much bigger proportion than just the live piece. The live has been convenient during these really lockdown times and things like that. But really it comes down to, I want to know exactly what I'm getting with the certain production values wrapped around it. I've found the workouts that I love. I want to do those again. Yes, there's a hunger for new content, and anyone who's in the content space will know you've got to keep fresh. But I also know there's my favorites that I like to go back, and I love that core workout and I love that yoga flow. And so what we're really seeing is it's going to be a blend of both, but the special, when I turn up, has to be special. It's a bit like live. This is a pressure on live. When we come together, this had better be good, because I can get pretty good on my phone or on my TV. So just we're seeing that blend. Again, it's going to be a mixed market. And when we speak to the new world, some people are just going to be digital. Some people are just going to be live. But most people are going to be a blend of both in the middle.
Perfect. That's true. They'll be definitely in the middle is a very good balance, and I see that as well. From my input, I think video on demand is very scalable. It's easier to produce because you can have so many practices. You have editing, right? You have all the post-production, and that content can be very easily repurposed in the future. Now, with that being said, it's the same thing for live. Is once you get good at it, it's super easy to create. And then what's awesome about live is what you can do is really engage your audience and do a good job with the community aspect there. So I love that about live streaming. And one actually really popular tip I want to share is live chat. Let me give everybody a quick tip and something fun that I really enjoy, and we'll dive into the stats in a second here, is you might be thinking, what am I going to do with live chat when I'm working out? And that's a really good point. Imagine you're sitting here sweating. I actually have a little bicycle back here that I put on my bicycle trainer. I'm not going to be live chatting, but what I do love is when I attend some of our customers' classes, I do my spinning class or I do my yoga, then I use the live chat to engage with the customers and everyone else, and people love that. So what happens with live streaming is it's very engaging, but a lot of it can be tiring. And Daniel's sharing some really cool stats here on demand. It's obviously anytime, a bit lower engagement, high engagement on live. And obviously live is gonna be hard to scale. Now there is a live streaming stats that I'd like for you to share, Daniel. Show us that one, and it can kind of show the verticals here. Now we got the very cool Apple Watch, which I'm gonna tell everybody about here, which we have an Apple Watch app that we just launched, and I'll talk about that towards the end, so stay tuned. So let's look at some of the live streaming Uscreen stats here. Fitness verticals are seeing over 1,300% increase in live stream minutes in 2020. Okay, yoga and meditation's over 400%, 392 to be exact. And the number of live events has increased by over 300%. When I speak to customers, I always tell them, you gotta have some live. You gotta have a mix of live. In fact, Daniel, let me share my screen for a second here. I'm gonna show Tint Yoga here. Tell me when I'm on.
You're on.
Awesome. Tint Yoga is a great customer that I absolutely adore, a German-based company. They do a really good job with their catalog, beautiful aesthetics here. Here's their upcoming live classes, as well as all their live, all their on-demand, as well as their academy. You see how well they've organized that? And you can use filters here by duration, focus, language, intensity. Now let's go back and click Lust for Life Flow here. Here's the live. I have a countdown. I'm going to get a notification when I go live. I get an email. So it's a beautiful experience. But what happens here is it's nicely accompanied by all their on-demand. You see they have a good amount of live happening here, right? Every week. You see that 3 days apart, 7 days apart, 3 days apart. And then you have a load of content here that's basically on demand. So on demand is very scalable, and you want to be able to scale over time. You don't have to sit there and watch or produce the content instantly. You produce it once, and it's basically replicatable all the time. So a lot of opportunity there with on demand, and live streaming is super engaging there. So that's great input from everybody. I appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about retaining users, right? We know live, on demand, people are willing to pay for your content. Let's talk about engagement as well as retaining. Emma, what about the fact that pretty much in retaining the user, a good point you made to me prior was the fact of staying relevant, being a part of my day. And that will really create engagement. And you've heard the saying out of sight, out of mind, right? But in this case with fitness, it needs to be part of your life. And how can the viewers here make their service part of someone's life?
Yeah, so I think we're in a behavioral change game. Like, we have so many things pulling on our attention right now. So there's a few parts to this, and you have to get it all right, right? First of all, your content's got to be engaging enough that people want to come back. They intrinsically want to come back. You're trying to get them to fall in love with a little piece of whatever you're offering. So there has to be that pull. I talk a lot about, there's two things now. I know we're going to talk about biometrics, and we're fast moving to a world where I know exactly what's happening in my body. I know how rested I am. I know how many calories. I know what my heart rate is. I know what my blood states in. All of that stuff is coming to us, and I'm going to be able to manage that. That's Tim Cook's gift to the world, right? The hospital and the gym on my wrist. So now that we have all that, we have to stop lying. So we have to stop saying things like, this workout's going to burn 1,000 calories, because now I know exactly. Yeah, so that's kind of going to go away. So the cheap end of our industry is going to go away. But I need to be top of mind. So first of all, I need to like what you're offering. Then you actually need to be in my mind consistently in a way that's highly relevant and not annoying to me. So as we move into this hyper-personalized world, and there's a lot of AI coming in, machine learning, etc., that's really assisting us as we find and we follow the data, is that I then need to be served up exactly what I want when I want it. So there's a great quote from the experience economy guys from Pine and Gilmore, and they say, people don't want choice, they just want exactly what they want. So you need to somehow get into that person's day, and in many more ways than we're thinking about. And again, it's a gift of digital. You can't just say they're going to come to our club 3 times a week, or you're going to do my workout 3 times a week. It might be, how do I help you set your intention for the day? How do I give you a 10-minute focusing meditation if you're about to give a big board meeting? How can I perhaps give you 3 yoga stretches that are specifically designed for you and your tight spots? And if you did this, you'd have a much better day. So there's many, many ways that these little moments can be pushed into your daily life that are helpful, relevant, and exactly what you are looking for. But it has to be intrinsic. You've got to make this, you've got to cross that threshold of I'm pushing stuff at you to you actually wanting it and it landing in your inbox, in your diary, however it is, in a way that's relevant, useful, and that you feel so much better when you engage with it. So it's a much bigger conversation than just 15 minutes of exercise or 150 health minutes a week or 250 cosmetic working out minutes a week. It's much bigger picture.
Yeah, with what you said, Emma, about just kind of being relevant and knowing what they want and being there, not making them jump through hoops. when we spoke earlier about Apple Fitness and some people in the industry initially when Apple Fitness came, whether you're a brick and mortar fitness or an online influencer, they're like, holy cow, even me, wow, Apple Fitness is coming. But the truth is they help, and they help make it popular. So when you're talking about habits and you're talking about daily life, Apple Fitness is going to come out. They're going to have an Apple Watch wearable app, and they're raising the bar. Now you can work out. You got all your stats connected to your workout. Great. So that makes it popular, and more people will adopt watching that great content from Apple, from their Apple TV, from their mobile phone, from their website. So ultimately, they make it popular. Our customer make it their own.
Yeah.
Right? So
look where they started. What did Apple start with? Stand up, breathe, close your rings. These are single behavioral units. You know, that they've started here, because if you don't have those things in place, you can't evolve and build on it. So yeah, great example with the Apple Watch and what they're coming with. Yeah.
Absolutely. They help you build these habits, and then they'll launch a service to incorporate all of it, which then creates this magical behavioral change for all of us. So if anything, Apple Fitness absolutely helps us in that aspect. I'd like to jump in a little bit on marketing your digital and virtual offer, which is our expertise. We are online marketers here at Uscreen, and we do a good job helping our customers as well as ourselves with marketing. And I'd like to share some of those secrets with everybody. So one, I'm going to go through some of the basics here that have worked for a lot of our customers that will basically get you to think and start to kind of adopt some of those tactics moving forward. So first is, you don't want to do a complete cold sell to your customers with a digital offer. If you already have members and email lists, you want, and that makes it easier, but you still need to warm them up to your digital offer. So what you want to do is create a funnel. So inside Uscreen, we have a feature coming out this month. It's called Lead Zen, and it's ultimately a very simple funnel builder, which will collect the email, give away one of your videos, and then nurture that user in an email sequence to tell them about your offer, your course, your membership site, your workout series, and all that good stuff. You can create this offer anywhere else, this funnel anywhere else, right? So ultimately what you want to do is nurture the user rather than hitting them right away. Buy my content for $20 a month, buy my workout. That doesn't work extremely well. Of course, 1 out of 10 might sign up, but you can get 3 to 4 out of 10 to sign up for the offer with creating funnels. And that works extremely well with social media, emails, your email list, and then retargeting to bring users back that have already visited your site with a basic pixel also works well. And doing your basic email marketing, which goes back to what Emma was saying, is staying relevant, staying in mind, staying in sight, keeping in touch with them with what's happening. Even if you use the internal tools, such as a platform like ours, where when you have a new piece of content, you tell them about it, that goes a long way. You want to stay in sight with your customers. Okay, so I wanted to now jump into the next topic and talk about the importance of being in people's home and being on the big screen and adopting the apps. Again, going back to actually Apple Fitness, if you notice when you acquire, December 14th is their launch date, when you acquire Apple Fitness, you need either, and I think you need an Apple Watch and you need an Apple, is it required that you need an Apple TV as well?
You have to have 2 Apple devices.
2 devices.
Got it. So you got to have an Apple Watch, I think, and as well as an iOS or an Apple TV. These apps, which we call OTT, over the top, which is your Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, has really been a cornerstone for a lot of our customers, especially during the pandemic, because you're sitting at home, you have the big screen, and you can now do your workouts in front of those screens. So it makes a big difference to the in-home experience, and it becomes part of the entertainment. Emma, I would like to hear your input on the big screen, that hybrid approach to fitness, and watching that content in the comfort of your home with those devices, both on the big screen as well as mobile.
Right. So again, it's the earlier point that we're competing against all things that entertain us. So back in the day, if you think about the aggregators in our physical world, in the real world, we had clubs, and then we had the ability to get all the data and be able to pull it all together and then learn from that. Now, if you think about the new world now, we're all on Netflix, and we've watched all the things. We're pulling in those expectations from other industries, if you like. Now, we used to have work and we used to have play, and now we kind of have everything's blended, and it's kind of a lot of it's going to be at home. We already know that some businesses are never going back full time. So actually, this is your new reality. We've also seen a lot of boutiques, a lot of the designers, just to go slightly off topic, you look at all the architects and stuff are actually beginning to really start to bolster their at-home boutique feel. So that, we're about to do our garage, for example. So people are beginning to build boutiques as well as still intending to go out, but they're living in the reality that my life is a lot more homebound now. So that now if you look at Netflix and stuff like that, you're used to watching these amazing videos. You want your fitness experiences to be delivered in the same production values and in the same size, if you like. So we're definitely seeing, and everything's linking in. You're seeing that a lot of, and I know Uscreen's agnostic, so you're able to pull in a lot of partners, a lot of digital aspects that you really value, and it's able to be served up seamlessly through a big mechanism. So we're seeing a lot of consolidation that's all going to be served up in one certain way. And so I would say that we're pulling from other industries, we're expecting big values, and we're definitely, our home is our castle now, even more than it has been. And so we're wanting to sort of trick that out a little bit more than we have in the past.
Good point. Daniel, what is your input with all the content that you create and the research you do? What are your thoughts on the big screen as well as the mobile apps?
I wish that I could put my Uscreen Health and Fitness YouTube videos on an app for people. Oh wait, that's just called YouTube, I guess. But I want like a Daniel Uscreen Health and Fitness app. So we should probably get to work on that, PJ.
Nice.
But I found myself consuming way more content through apps on my Apple TV and even on my phone over the last 12 months than I ever would have done. Like, I didn't watch much TV, and I'm now streaming significantly more than I was this time last year. So I think it's one of those things that went from for a lot of people, it was a nice to have, to now we're getting really close to the point where for most people, it's going to be a need to have to be able to reach your customers where they are. Which, that's just going to be more important than ever in the next 12 to 24 months.
And it's definitely growing. It's absolutely the beginning, and the viewership is significantly higher. And remember, people are building habits now. So everyone who's already launched or launching soon, you still have a great opportunity to capture a lot of market moving forward. And I wanted Emma's experience on jumping on another topic now. I'm going to jump around a little bit on some various topics, and then I got a really cool announcement for everybody. So Emma, you're very well versed in group training, and you're familiar with obviously multi-location health and wellness and franchises. I asked you something the other day, which I'd love for you to share, and it's a really good way to look at franchises, for example. Oftentimes we get big brand names or a health and wellness studio that has multiple franchises. And this absolutely is a true case. They're scared they're going to cannibalize the franchise's business by the mothership, right? The mothership franchise corporate company says, okay, I want to launch on-demand streaming. I need to. Everyone is asking. And let alone half the franchises or most are closed or limited capacity. But then the franchisees are like, wow, you're going to you're basically going to swallow my customers. You're cannibalizing my business. You made a really good point that says, if you don't do it, others will do it. Can you shed some light on that for us?
Yeah, look, it's that really tricky moment that happens in all business development where the business models start to shift and evolve, right? And here we are in the biggest disruption ever, which is digital coming in. And, the point is, there is going to be cannibalization a little bit, but the bigger win is more people are going to be access to it. And the point is, and we face this with Les Mills and many other businesses, is that you have a live, a real world presence, and you have people running that and all those sorts of things, and then you have this club in the sky, and you have this other whole thing that you need to deliver. So it's a very real issue, but you've got to get over that. And remember what I said, we're in a clunky phase in the moment now where we're trying to decide between one and two. The answer is both. And if you look into the future, it's going to be both, and it's going to live alongside each other. Now, you've got to get over the fear of it, and you've got to go, well, what can I do better that in a live experience? How can I be more human? How can I dial up those aspects? And if you're sitting on foundations that are so shaky that you don't have enough to pull your members back, you need to take a really good look at your business and say, how can I look at all those touch points and dial those up so that I can compete to that? Because we are human beings, we want to be together, but we are also going to want convenience in this other part of it as well. So it's to get over yourself a little bit, it's to face the fear, lean into it, learn about it, and then actually work out that people still want my experience, but I need to work a little bit harder. I might need to let go of some of the things I'm doing and get really super good at these things. And I need to accept that the world is changing. And if my brand that I sit under doesn't do this, there are hundreds of other brands that will, and they will take my customer anyway. So wouldn't it be better if they had one aligned brand experience under the umbrella of whatever our franchise is? Sometimes they come to me, the rest of the time they go there, and there's a wonderful world.
On that topic, the fact that we're talking about the brick and mortars, health club studios, and gyms, should they mimic that classroom experience with online? What are your thoughts on that? The experience of when I go in person versus what I see online?
Again, it depends. I'm always going to give you that answer first of all. So look, some experiences transfer really nicely. You know, they can be, obviously I come from many, many decades actually with Les Mills, and the class is the class. You know, you go in, it's science-backed, it's amazing, it's awesome, but there are different considerations when you're filming. I have a different relationship with a person when I'm in the room with them, and then you have some people who have a different relationship when they're just talking to the black dot or the red record sign there. You have, you have different things. The other thing that digital can do is that you can slice and dice and all that content. So if I just want a 10-minute workout and I want a bit of this and then I want some yoga, or I want this and this, you can pick and mix a little bit more. So sometimes the experience can be similar. If you go to Peloton, if you've been to the Peloton class, you're actually in a class, but they barely know you're in there because they are just making love to those 3 cameras, for example. And so you happen to be in the live experience, but you're not really getting that interaction. So I just use it loosely when I say some of the classes that do transfer. Often with some of the bigger brands I work with, they have 2 different teams. They have a digital team, and maybe this is the team that have been proven. They've got the Q rating. They've got the people who respond really well to camera, that they're really relatable. Then I've got another team, which is actually the live team. Sometimes there's a crossover, sometimes there isn't. So it really depends on resources. Other people are partnering to bring it in. So the answer is it depends. It depends on your brand. Different rules.
And absolutely, it depends on the type of workout. Very true. And Peloton is one example, and we have over 100 cycling studios on Uscreen. With my bicycle trainer, I use one of our customers. It's called Be Home, Be Cycle. I have a great experience with them. It's actually, they're in Quebec, so they speak a lot of French, and I sometimes don't know what they're saying, but they do say, they mix in some English as well. And Soul Cycle, I've tried their class powered by Uscreen as well, which is a lot of fun, and they do a really good job with the quality, and the quality of the music is actually great too. I would like to jump on my big surprise, which we've been waiting anxiously to actually talk about this. And then we're going to get into some Q&A and have some fun with some of the questions coming through. And I also have a series of questions that have been lined up per the votes that we've gotten based on quantity. So I'll start to share those as well. Now, Daniel, show us kind of what we got here, and then I'm going to talk about it a bit more. So we have a big change happening within the industry, which is wearable tech, and it's really driven by Apple and the big names coming. Now, Emma said something really good. I'd love for her to kind of share her input a little bit more. She touched on this as well. When you look at CES and you look at CEA, Consumer Electronic Association, you're going to see the fact that so many of these industries are ahead. And that will also happen in fitness. It won't happen overnight. It's already starting. So in a few years, you'll see more AI, and you'll see those different things with related content and more wearables and all that stuff, which, by the way, I would like to make a note. The most popular or most successful customers on Uscreen use the out-of-the-box solution. They don't do massive customizations because we know the formula. They use that formula. So I would like to enforce that. Simply look at Apple Fitness, they're going to be really successful at it, or you look at Netflix, it's on demand and live. It's simple, right? Netflix doesn't have live, but you know what I mean. It's very simple to consume that content. So less is more in customizations. With that said, tech is moving forward in fitness, no doubt. Specifically, the reason we did an Apple Watch app initially is the fact that Apple Fitness is coming. It's a big deal for the fitness world. And of course, not everybody watches an Apple Watch or has an Apple Watch, but a good amount do. And it's a very beautiful experience with the Apple Watch, and it will connect the workout directly, the stats to, as you see on the video player there, that looks almost like Daniel right there. Daniel, is that you doing the workout?
No. I wish I could pull off that haircut.
Nice. So what happens is the Apple Watch connects directly, all right, with the workout, with your site. So if I'm, for example, Vita Fitness or Choose, I will connect and then I'll start my workout. If you could show me the previous screen again, Daniel, I'm going to see my stats of my calories and my heart rate on the video player. So if I'm on Apple TV, I'm on Roku, I'm on the website, and it works for live and on demand. And what's awesome is when I'm done with my workout, so I'll start my workout and you get your own app in the Apple Watch. So it will say Vita Fitness, it will say Choose, it will say Humming Puppy. I download it, I activate it using that code. Now I go to one of the videos and I click play and I hit start workout. I then see my heart rate and my calories on the video player. And when I'm done, everything is stored in the Apple Fitness app on my phone. So I can then share it with Emma. I can do a challenge with her and she'll probably kick my butt. So I can absolutely, share my stats with who I wish, and it's fully compliant because obviously you have to give permission to share your stats there with anyone else. And it really creates an engaging experience. What I love most about the Apple Watch is the fact that it acts as a remote control. So if I have my bicycle here and I have a really big monitor, if I have my bicycle right here and I'm watching the video on the monitor, instead of unbuckling, I have clip-ons with my feet, it's really annoying. Instead of unbuckling, getting off the bicycle, coming and touching the keyboard and rewinding and forwarding the video, I can directly do it on here. I can pause, play, rewind, forward. It's really cool. So you don't have to actually look for the Apple TV remote. I have an Apple TV. I think Daniel has one too. If you've ever played with the remote, it's got a slider at the top. I mess it up all the time. So I'm working out, I'm sweaty, I gotta get up. Like, oh man, I missed it. I go to the wrong video. Now you just do it from your watch and you can see your stats. So why did we choose to go Apple Watch? The stats are clear. Let's go back to the wearable tech stats again there. Wearable segment in 2020 is estimated at 18 million. Guess what, everybody? You might be thinking, what about Fitbit, right? Fitbit is second only to Fitbit. 39% is Apple. And guess what? Apple made a big difference with the Apple Fitness with their Apple Watch. They made it more affordable. Used to be what, $600, $700, $800. I think they're $350 now, $400. They put them on sale. Apple realized the watch shouldn't just be, hey, what time it is. What time is it, right? What time? No, the truth is the point of the Apple Watch went towards health, and they know that. Just doesn't tell time. They went towards health. So that's why this is such a good wearable and such a good tool. And absolutely the penetration of Apple Watch will increase significantly within the market because of price and their Apple Fitness. Big companies make big moves. They don't make many, but they make big moves. So what we wanted to do is make you absolutely relevant and raise the bar. And I promise you this will make a big difference going into 2021. Emma, I would love to hear your feedback with wearables in general and what's happening, as well as the Apple Watch.
Yeah, so again, at CES last year, 2019, there was a whole summit. There was a full day on wearables, and it sort of was a mix that sort of intersects with the gaming world, and it intersects a little bit with med tech, so medical. So some stuff that's happening there is that hearables, actually, so in-ear coaching, whether or not that was real time. So there's a couple of things here. If you think of companies like Active and things that are actually happening, they're just coaching you in your ear. So that was definitely on the rise, along with voice recognition, using vocal assistants, those sorts of things. That's 20%, right? So 20% of people are searching just using verbals. The other part is using the sensors. So this is where wearables start to interact with coaching. So if I have sensors in my clothing, and we know that clothing's coming, so we're, not only we're having the watches and the straps and the wristbands and all the things, but we're also looking at having it in clothing. So perhaps I'm doing one of your fabulous yoga classes and it actually knows where my body is, and it starts coaching me based on the sensors in real time, and it can actually tell me sort of what's happening in my body. Emma, bring your shoulder back. Emma, drop a little lower on the front knee, whatever. So that was definitely a big trend. Wearables still rising, and we're still very, very early stage, really, when you look at other segments and other industries. But it's definitely coming, and it was definitely rising. So so just moving, it's still expensive because these things go through prototypes and things like that, and they're very expensive. So some of these garments are like in the thousands, but that'll eventually come down as more and more people pile on and it becomes more relevant. So this next stage of the watch and the tracking all of my biometrics, and then how do I, and then you start integrating with the smart homes and things like that. So it's kind of like, here's Emma, she's woken up tired. Here's what I should get the fridge to order in order to feed her properly this week. Don't go for that hard hit training today. Go for a walk and do some nice gentle yoga this afternoon, and please try to get to bed before 10 o'clock. It's going to start leading us in those directions rather than just, here's the workout for the week. It's actually going to respond in real time. Another interesting development was in the medical community, which was around nanotech. So if you take a newborn baby, they have all the tubes going in. So what they're doing now is they're just putting little patches that can actually pick up those biometrics, those vital signs. And I expect that those sorts of technologies will start to cross over into fitness. Another couple of more interesting breaking news there was edibles. So actually eating something that it can actually read things within your body, and also injectables. So the thought of the chip, which is not new, but it's beginning to become a reality. There's companies that are beginning to play in that space that can actually measure you from the inside out. So all of that sort of happening. It's very early stage, still very expensive, but I'd expect to see that in the next 3 to 5.
What about you, Daniel? What are your thoughts on wearable tech? Do you own any and use it? Has it become a habit for you?
Do I own any? Come on, PJ. Of course I do. Come on.
Nice. Okay, you're at least wearing yours.
I've worn a watch since I was probably 6 or 7 years old. I actually saw a picture recently of me in my old house growing up, like this big. And I'm wearing an old Walmart Timex watch. So I've always been a watch person. When the Apple Watch came out and they were like, you can track your fitness, I was like, well, I love working out. Let me go ahead and grab that. So I've had the first gen Apple Watch and then the second, I don't remember. And I have one today and I love it. But I'm actually interested in going like a little bit further, because the Apple Watch is amazing for people getting started with fitness and for, the recreational, but I kind of want to take my training a little bit more intense. So I like Garmin has like some really high end stuff for, endurance type training. So I'm looking into that. I actually did buy a heart rate monitor chest strap for some of that exercise as well. So I'm very bullish on wearables. My wife, who never wore a watch, I've gotten her to wear an Apple Watch, and I bought a home gym. So I've been like, oh, look at that. We've got the perfect combination to get you active and keep you healthy so that we're around for a long time for our kids, because that's my number one motivation. So I think that wearables, again, I still think it's pretty early. The Apple Watch in the grand scheme of things has been out for 5 years, I think. Like, it's not very old. So there's a lot that can still happen in that industry. That Fitbit kind of set the stage for originally. And then Apple came in and was like, you guys, come on. That's a joke. Let's go. Let's get an Apple Watch in here. So I think that there's a lot still to come, and I'm really excited to see what happens, especially with Apple Fitness Plus, making kind of online fitness mainstream, because that's what they do, right? Like, Apple will not be the first to adopt features, right? They're never the first. But when they do something, everyone's like, oh, look at that. That's amazing. It's revolutionary. It's the best ever, which is like Apple's favorite phrase to use. And when Apple does things like that, everyone takes notice. It's not just like, Samsung introduces a feature 3 years ago and everyone's like, what? They did that 3 years ago? Who knew? No one knows, because Apple is the one that brings it to the mainstream. So I think that is a huge deal for small fitness boutiques and businesses who are, starting their online studios and adding wearables to the mix. I think that's going to be just a total game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point on that, Daniel. And big tech makes moves, but they make simple moves. And again, back to one of my previous points, I would really like for you to keep it simple, especially if you want to start out with on-demand, then do live, right? Or start with a little bit of live. Now you have some on-demand content and you can pile up if you can start with live, but keep it simple. Keep the platform simple. The apps absolutely help. The Apple Watch will be a huge game changer for, I think, the industry as a whole, but it's also another appeal that it's a differentiator because it gets people into the door that, hey, you have a tracker, which is definitely appealing. When Emma talks a lot about these trending technologies, remember, everybody, it's the beginning. And although the wearables, the shirts, and all that cool stuff is absolutely coming, but it will take time, and technology is only moving forward. And really what we're talking about is fitness just picked it up very recently, right? You had Planet Fitness pick up streaming a while back. They did a really good job on it. A lot of respect for them. But the majority of this brick and mortar space is just starting to pick up streaming. Now, we have a lot of influencers around fitness that have been kicking butt for a few years, and they were very ready, but it's not too late. 2021 is full of opportunities, and you need to be ready for the future. So it's some great input today from Daniel and Emma. I really appreciate that. If you both have any quick closing remarks, feel free to shout out, and I will actually take just 3 quick questions after that from our Q&A, and I'll answer those, and then we'll give it a wrap here. And everybody, we're going to put our contact information at the end of the webinar as well, and we'll tell you how to find Emma as well, and we're excited to hear back from everybody. Emma, tell us any closing remarks, as well as how to be in touch with you in the future as well, if any of our viewers want to learn more about the awesome Emma we had here today. It's been a pleasure.
Sure, thanks for being so generous, PJ. So, look, happy to answer any questions beyond this webinar as well. Look, my main things would be, if technology scares you, just lean in, because when you're in the process of learning and knowing, you start to get an action, and then you stop worrying about this big thing that you don't understand, and just start. And I spend an awful lot of time helping people get ready for camera. You've got to do your first 10 and 100 hours in front of a camera. So get beyond it, and then it starts getting good. And then just be data-led. Your customers will tell you what they do and don't value. So most of your market development, you're never going to create the perfect product. And again, our favorite analogy today, Apple, they perfect the product in market. You kind of get it out there. You need to get it sort of 80%, get out there, and then do the final development as your customers tell you what they value and what they don't. So be data-led, lean into things that make you fearful, and then just ask for help and partner. There are so many great partners out there who can just accelerate you. You, this time next year, could be a fully fledged offering that is delighting your members. So lean into your friends, find out about people, try stuff, and be data-led, and all the best.
Awesome. And Emma, how can we find you? How can our audience be in touch with you in the future?
Sure. So you can just hit me up if it's recruitment search. So that's half of my life, Good Soul Hunting. So emma.barry@goodsoulhunting.com. Or you can get me at emma@emmabarry.us. So I'm prolific on Instagram. You'll find me on LinkedIn as well.
Lovely. Thank you. And Daniel, yourself as well, give us any closing remarks. And I know we have this broadcast going on the Health and Wellness channel, which you've done an awesome job educating this audience, pre-pandemic and pandemic and post-pandemic. Nice job.
Yeah, thanks so much, PJ. It's been a crazy year for all of us. And I think that the number one thing, if I could give you one thing to just walk away with, it's just lean into your audience. Just like most people lose sight of who their audience is, especially now, because there's even on a Zoom call or on a live stream like this, when you're looking at our face, it's not the same as being face to face. And when you're looking at a screen, looking at numbers about your audience, you tend to lose track of the fact that every single one of those people are an actual individual person that like things and hate things and love things, like you need to get down in the dirt with them. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this all the time. Like have your head, have your vision in the clouds, but have your hands and feet down in the dirt, like doing the work. So I would just say lean into your audience. Make sure you really know who they are, what they love, where they spend their time, because I think that is going to be your biggest and best investment over the next 12 months is just leaning into your audience. So like PJ said, this channel is here to help you. We're not here talking about Uscreen in all the videos I do. In fact, that's pretty rare that we're like, hey, you should check out Uscreen. We do it every once in a while, but for the most part, this channel is all about helping you, because when you succeed, especially if you succeed on Uscreen, we're going to succeed. But if the industry succeeds, we're all going to succeed. So I would just highly encourage you, if you haven't already, to subscribe to this channel. We actually, on this live stream, broke 1,000 subscribers, which is really, really exciting. That's been a year in the making, building it from scratch, not promoting. It's all organic, just working to help people like you succeed with their online fitness business. So go ahead and subscribe if you're not. If you haven't liked this video, go ahead and do that, because it will help it get seen by more people that need to see it. You can find me on this channel, or you can find me on social at Daniel_Kosmala. And I'm always open for questions and helping however I possibly can. So thanks for having me, PJ. I'm so grateful to be a part of all this.
Absolutely, Daniel. We're also grateful to have you offering a lot of great input on the Health and Wellness channel. And yes, we just hit 1,000 subscribers on that channel. Nice work and congrats. But I will say there's great viewership on that channel. People are really watching the content. So 1,000 might not be a huge number in YouTube terms, but it's a very engaged channel. So nice job by that. I would like to offer my closing remarks. Emma, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being with us today and setting time aside. Daniel, you as well. Everyone else listening, we're here. We're happy to listen to you. We really listen to feedback. Please, there is a feature request form that we have for Uscreen as a whole, and our team will paste that in the live chat there. We'd love to hear from you as far as what you like, what you don't like, both about this show as well as our platform. And really, we listen to our customers extremely well, and that's why we built such a good product. And it really is super important for us to put the customer first, the product first, and really focus on the experience. So keep it simple, live, on-demand content. You got to do digital. If you're not already, it is the future. And we have some really successful customers doing exactly that. And it's been a pleasure here today, everybody. On social, you can find us at uscreen.tv. If you need to contact me or anyone else, go through the sales channel. Any questions, sales@uscreen.tv. We're here for you. Thank you, everybody. It's been an absolute pleasure from sunny Washington, D.C., Emma from California, and Daniel. Daniel, where are you now?
Huntsville, Alabama.
Uscreen is a 100% remote team, so I forget the location sometimes. So it's been a pleasure, everybody. Awesome webinar. Thanks for joining. If you are a customer, lots of love, and I look forward to hearing from you. And if you're not a customer, I look forward to hearing from you as well, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.
Ciao.